last one that we have here is movement without the ball. And this one can be really hard to do because especially if you're only seeing the kids in season, if you're not getting any workouts in the off season, if they're not playing any travel ball or they're not playing on a club team, something like that. Movement without the ball. But this is what will make your team go to a new level because they'll understand the game so much better. Backdoor cuts open things up tremendously. We scored on several backdoor cuts this year. That was an emphasis for us because our movement without the ball had to be better for us to compete. We did not have, like I said in the beginning, a stud athlete to go to. So what do? We find other ways to start moving the defense. And backdoor cuts are one way we can do that and get us into a scoring position. Create gaps in space. We want to be able to create gaps in space, and movement without the ball will do both of those things. They'll create a driving lane for a person with the ball because there's a gap that's there. They'll also create space by maybe drifting down the 3-point line. So there could be a drive and kick, or replacing where the drive came from. So there could be a kickback. Lots of different things that can happen there. But those gaps in space allow for the offense to have decisions made on what the defense does. Okay. And then that leads us to our second thing is this creates two actions for a defender to guard. Our two actions have to be something, there's going to be a drive. So the defender has to decide, am I going to close the gap or am I going to stay home on the shooter? He can't do both simultaneously. So two things. If it's a pick and roll, are we going to stay with the ball as it comes over top of the screen, or are we going to go with the roll man? We've got to make them decide what of the two actions are they going to guard. If our spacing isn't correct, if we don't have gaps, we can't have that defender make any decisions. But then it's up to our offense to say, all right, this is the decision the defender made. This is what I can use. That's where small-sided games really come into this. The next thing here is take a defender away from the ball. So if they're going to choose, we're going to stay with the shooter, then great. The more you space out, the more they're going to be away from the shooter. The more you cut through, the more they're going to follow you through on the cut. And they're not, because you're the shooter, they're not going to be able to stay with the ball. So again, having to make decisions as to what they're going to do. And then lastly, it takes a defender's eyes away from the ball or their player. So things like backdoor cuts, they're watching the ball, a backdoor cut, they can't see you. If they're watching you as the shooter or you as the postman, when they move to see where you are, they cannot guard the ball. So we need to teach our players, not only are we moving without the ball, we're seeing where our defender is looking, and then we're moving based upon where our defender is looking. And I'm going to give you a few ways that we can do this and we can teach these things. But movement without the ball can be a tough thing, but it's something that certainly is very, very effective.